All right, let's figure out how to put a roof on this baby. So I have this in 3D view, and you can actually do it. You can do it by clicking on top in 3D view, like this. Or you can go to the roof view. If you have a roof view, though, that looks like this, you might not be having your underlay turned on. So I'm going to go scroll down when I double click roof, and I go to underlay right here. I want to select it to the main floor and just apply. It allows me to see everything. So if I go up here to roof, we want to have a 1 foot overhang, and I want to have the 8-inch asphalt shingle. And then I'm going to click on the boundary line and then pick wall. You can see if I hover over it, it has an offset there. So we can do all 4 of these walls. And then you get a nice simple roof here. I'm going to hit MD to modify. And I want this end to be my gable end. So I'm going to uncheck define slope. I'm going to click over here, uncheck define slope. And then these, according to our design specs, were 512. So I'm going to select these, click on that, and go to 5. You can also change it by going over, let me click to select that. There you go, change it over to here. Then I hit the green check, and no, I don't want to attach them. And then if I go back and I look at this in 3D, then you can see I got an amazing looking roof there. Ignore for a brief moment like the porch and everything. You're going to do those in different videos. If we want this wall to attach up to this, then I can click attach top base after I click that wall and then select the roof, and it attaches it. And there you go. So then you have a nice looking roof. Now, if you have a large wraparound porch and you want that roof to cover the porch, I'm going to show you how to do that next. If not, then that's pretty much all you need to do. But for my wraparound porch people who are my overachievers that have some crazy things going on with their porch, such as this, and if you want the roof to kind of go around this, you should be watching what I do next. Because I'm going to make a little bit more complicated roof system. So I'm going to go into roof plan, and we're going to click architecture and roof. I also want to show you that you don't really need to make just one roof. I can do this, and I'm going to hit my trim, TR, trim's my favorite key combination in the program. I can click this line and this line, and it just matches them together. Then if I click MD to modify, and let's say I'm just going to leave this as it is, and I'm not going to attach. So I have this roof here, and then maybe I want to make a second one that is this one right here. Use TR to trim, extend these pieces, but I'm not going to make this side a define slope. I'm just going to make those gable sides and hit the green check, don't attach. Then I want to show you what this one looks like. It just gives you a few different roof options. So you don't need to make the roof all in one piece. Sometimes you can make it in 2 chunks if you want different looks, different slopes. So if your roof isn't looking the way you want, then you might want to try making it in two different chunks. You notice here I did not change that to 512. You do need to do that. You need to have at least one 512 pitch for your residential house. But if you have at least one, you're good. Then you may do this to adjust it to sort of match different slopes on your roof, on the other roof, to get some of the roof lines to match up. So you can play around with that too, just so long as at least one is 512 so that you can prove that in your section view. Well, what if I want this roof to extend over this porch? So let me show you how you would do that. We're going to go back into this one and edit footprint. And then I hit the green check and it says you can't make it because there's no actual structural support over this deck. So then we have to delete the roof, and we need to go over here to add a little wall around this part of the porch. So this is the addition that you get to do if you want to make sort of a funky roof that goes over the top of your porch. You're going to go to wall, and you're going to change the constraint to roof with a base offset of nothing. And top constraint is unconnected with, usually what I find works really well is 6 inches there. So it's just 6 inches above the roof level. I'm going to hit apply, and we need to draw some walls above this deck as support walls. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to draw it inside this line because I want to be able to align it later on. So I'm not really worried about where it is. I just don't want it to overlap the edge of that. So there we go. And now I hit escape to get out of that. Now I want to align these walls. So I'm going to hit AL to align. Really important that we draw these in clockwise. I hope you did that. And I'm going to select this to wall face, and I click where I want to lock and then where I want to move. Lock, move, lock, move, and one more to align this, lock, move. There we go. So now I have those beautiful walls there, and if you take a look at it in 3D, you can see that these are now my support walls. It doesn't matter that it's hovering a little bit above this one. That is going to be just fine. So we go back to roof plan. I'm going to go to architecture and now click on roof. And I have still my 1 foot overhang. I wish that I could change it to a 512 in here, but I can't. So I'm just going to click on boundary line. There's pick walls. So we're just going to do this really quick just as a demonstration. Click on all these walls and this wall right there. And then I'm going to use my favorite tool again. What's that tool, Mr. Thomas? It's the trim tool. There it is, TR for trim. And then I click here. I click what I want to keep. Which is this section here. Don't click the bottom part because then it cuts that wrong part out. We'll undo that. We're going to keep this. There we go. And then keep that. There we go. That looks absolutely amazing. Now they're all sloped. That's going to look a little dumb. It's also 912, which is not correct. But I just want to show you this as a demo. So I'm going to not attach. And then let's look at it in 3D. Oh my gosh, it worked. Because that's how things do when you do them right. So that's how you would make a roof extend over the deck right here. You probably would want to put a couple more posts and things like that. And then of course you could adjust your slope. You can do the roof in different sections. You can have gable ends. You can do all sorts of amazing things with your roof. If it's not working, please call me over and I will help you figure out how to make your absolute most amazing roof. And now that you have your roof on, we need to prove that you have it as a particular slope. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to do an edit and just check on here. Per our design specs, I believe I mentioned before, we need to have at least one side that's 512. So I'm going to make that 512. I'm going to make this one 512. I know I showed you before you could do some quick changes by just kind of clicking the arrows on these and moving it up and down, but we need to have at least one as 512. So I'm going to do this one here, and then I'm going to show you now how we make a section view of that. So we'll go back to first floor view. That 512 side was this edge right here. So if we go into a view and create a section, then I'm going to go outside to inside, and you could go inside to outside as well. It's either way is fine. And I'll open up my new section view right here, and we are going to make sure that we go fine detail, and it's showing that I have my roof slope. Now you may not have some of these other elements on here depending on where you're at in the project. You won't have foundation walls at this point, but you will later on. And so we need to have fine detail in that. So now I'm going to go into annotate and go spot slope, and then I'm going to choose triangle. Then I go over to here and let me see, let's click once, and then if I move the pointer over, then I can place it above the roof. Click a second time and it locks it in place. So that's how you prove that you have a correct slope on this thing. And there we go. That should be all you need for your section view, which you're going to need later on for your final Revit project.